and he said, I wish I never tried once, because look what I did to my life, look what I did to my family's life and all my friends.
There is a new synthetic opioid hitting the Midwest, and it's stronger than Narcan.
In the past few months, the number of cases have more than doubled. One of them happening in the city of Danville just last November.
In tonight's Addicted Illinois, I investigate this new designer drug and share one family's plea for action.
Had good grades. He was the quarterback on the football team. He was baptized in church. Life of the party. Everybody loved him because of the life of the party. And he had the golden heart that he always wanted to take care of everybody else.
Playing the sport he loved, Caleb got a shoulder injury that wasn't treatable. His doctor prescribed him painkillers to get him through the rest of his season. After learning how addictive the medication was, Caleb was taken off it. But his addiction never really stopped.
Wasn't long after that, then he started experimenting with the street drugs.
Caleb was one of 3 triplets. They graduated Bismarck-Henning High School together. Then everything hit at once. 2 people close to him died, friends moved away, he went through a breakup. Quickly, he became depressed at 18, not knowing his purpose.
As he was out with friends, we thought they were helping him cope with his depression, but actually found out he was introduced to heroin.
Caleb admitted himself into rehab and detox programs, but that wasn't enough. Soon his depression and addiction caught up with him.
He felt like he was a failure. He felt like he had no hope. He just didn't have faith in himself, and kept telling me he didn't have a purpose in life.
His mom caught him attempting suicide 6 different times in 3 days. She begged him to get help, but he refused.
The 4th day, he snuck out of the house, went to town, overdosed in one of the local stores. We were notified that he was at the hospital, and so when we went to go down there, he refused treatment and he left. He walked down the street, got a ride, went to another store, overdosed again. They found him again and took him, assessed him, and took him to jail.
His mom says he was giving up on life, even mentioning a new drug he was trying.
He had told me he had started using this new green heroin. It was stronger than what he had ever used before, and that he knew that that would end his life.
On November 8th, 2019, Caleb's dad came over to visit, but he wasn't in his bedroom.
He went outside thinking maybe he was in the garage having a cigarette like he normally does, and that's when we found him dead.
Caleb's blood test results took 2 months to come back, but the results weren't what Connie expected.
Found out he was the first case in Vermilion County. That was hard. That was hard.
Jane McFadden, the Vermilion County coroner, was the one to deliver the news.
We think there's another synthetic opioid in there, and we think it's isotinidazine, and we don't have a way to test for a quantitative amount. I didn't know what that was. I said, well, it's a synthetic opioid. How common is this? This is my first death that drug had popped up.
McFadden sent the blood test to a research facility in Pennsylvania. They were already studying the synthetic opioid since it was first detected last August. Caleb was the 9th case out of Illinois and Indiana. Now there are 18.
2016, fentanyl and synthetic opioids have surpassed heroin. So that seems to be where we're moving now, to all these synthetics.
McFadden and the Vermilion County Public Health Department worry about the spread of this drug, especially since these new designer drugs are stronger than your typical dose of Narcan.
Because people think Narcan is the safety net. Well, if I have Narcan and I'm using heroin, well, you don't know you're using heroin.
They don't appear any different than maybe the other drugs you're taking. You can't look at a small amount of this and pick out which grains are a synthetic as opposed to the regular one. So you're ingesting things without really knowing what they are.
Vermilion County Public Health Director Doug Toole says even when people realize how strong these drugs are, it's usually too late.
I wish it had a different color. I wish it had some strong odor to it where you'd have a hint, but you're ingesting it and by the time you realize there's a problem, it's already doing its damage.
Last year, Vermilion County saw the highest number of overdoses since 2012. 24 people died, 4 of them intentional suicides.
It's here, and we want people to be aware. You don't know what you're putting in your body anyway, And now you could potentially be putting in a substance that Narcan and medical professionals and emergency medical services aren't going to be able to reverse.
Caleb was only 24 at the time he died. His mom, Connie, said he fought so hard to get better, but his illness took over him.
It was hard for us to not understand why he couldn't see his purpose in life.
Caleb can still be seen all over his childhood home. Football jerseys, old photos, and handwritten notes.
Caleb loved every sport there is, could tell you any stat that you wanted to know from the day he was born. But what we really want people to remember Caleb is the Caleb that had that golden heart, not the Caleb that had the clouded judgment by his illness.
Writing this note to his mom while in rehab. To the world, you may be just one person, but to one person, you may be the world.
And he told me, he's like, Mom, I could hear you saying one choice can change the rest of your life in a second. And he said, I kept thinking, I'm so depressed. I just need to use just once. Once isn't gonna hurt me to ease my pain. And he said, I wish I never tried once.
And Caleb's family is working to spread awareness about mental illness and addiction. They hope to bring an inpatient rehabilitation center to Danville. They also encourage everyone to take a mental health training course. And you can find more information about that on our website, along with resources on how to get help. In the studio, I'm Lauren Kostiuk. Back to you.